Yo, what's good, yo? Welcome to another episode of Fun with Dumb. This next guest here, I reached out to after seeing a documentary on Netflix called Memory Games, which I found really fascinating. She is a memory athlete. Mm-hmm. I've never said those two words together. So
I know, you shouldn't.
Memory athlete, a 3-time world record holder. I'm trying to memorize
all the shit I've done.
Yeah. Off the Wikipedia, but nah. And
fuck that Wikipedia. They keep changing my birth date. I'm like,
oh,
I'm
really?
not 30, bitch. This producer reached out to me yesterday and she was like, oh, let's memorize like Oscar winners from your birth date. And on your Wikipedia it says 1985. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Who's changing it? What the hell?
I don't know. Somebody is trying to fuck with me. I don't know.
But you've competed in various world memory championships,
yes.
Which is a thing for those who aren't familiar.
Yeah. It's like chess championships, but nerdier.
Yeah. You are from Sweden originally and now residing in New York City.
Yes. Originally Siberia and Mongolia.
Mongolia. You're Mongolian, right?
Yeah.
And now you're in the States and are you a full-time
memory champion?
Memory athlete, or how does that work?
How does that work? Yes, I'm a full-time memory champion. I guess I say it's like my day job. Like that's what brings in money. Surprisingly.
Yeah.
But then like at night I'm trying to do more like writing, acting, comedy type stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. So for those who aren't familiar, explain what a memory athlete is.
So a memory athlete is somebody who's very nerdy. So it's like chess championships. You know how there's like chess grandmasters and stuff and like Bobby Fischer and all those things. So it's sort of like we go into these very hyped like competitions in Asia, and then we try to memorize as much as possible. So like currently the world record for memorizing binary digits in 30 minutes is more than 6,000 and stuff like that. So right. I have the world record for I think words right now, at least.
Words in a row?
Words in a row. So it's 145 words in a row with no spelling errors and no like you can't flip them, you can't.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't write a synonym, otherwise they just decide that.
So that's the world record. That's the human world record
yes.
of how many words someone can
yes.
memorize in a row.
And then like depending on which ranking and statistics site you go on, I also have the one for images, which is like 354 images in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And 212 names and faces in 15 minutes. 15
so
minutes.
In the World Memory Championships, there's various different like categories. Is
yes,
that what it is?
Yes, it's 10 disciplines, and yeah, they vary. It's a lot of numbers, a lot of counting cards.
Yeah.
So
you hold the record for 3 out of the 10?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. It's all iffy because there's like a lot of beef in the memory championship community. There's beef. Like in Asia, it's so obviously like so stereotypical. In Asia, it's like very competitive and people will try to like bribe themselves into getting a better placement and stuff.
Yeah.
So one of my friends is the main organizer for one of the competitions and he was like, I'm getting DM'd from like Wuhan and all these places. They're trying to like buy themselves into like a third place for like $100,000. I'm like, dude, just give me that money and I'll coach you.
So this is really like I saw the documentary
right.
and there's the heavy hitters. I guess are the people highlighted pretty much some of the top people. I mean, not everybody, but
I think I'm one of the people who's top right now out of the people highlighted.
But there's a guy from the States who won too, right?
Right, Alex Mullen. Yeah, he's really good.
And he's one of the top. I guess he holds the record for the cards at least.
Yeah, no, right now. So what happened is like that documentary was shot in 2017 and now it's 2019, right? So after that, just a few months after, people were like, oh, if somebody can memorize a deck of cards in like 52 cards in 20 seconds, I can do it faster. And so this little Mongolian kid, I'm saying kid now because I met him when he was like this small, and now he's like this really tall.
In the documentary, there was like that little school academy or whatever.
Yeah.
He's
part of that, but he's based out of Oakland now, and he's become like this tall basketball player. I'm like, what's happening? Anyways, so he has the record now, so he can memorize a deck of cards in 13 seconds, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So, I do 22, and people are like, "You're so slow. You're like a grandma."
So that's somebody. So you go through a deck of cards, remember it in order.
Shuffled. It's not ordered.
Oh, shuffled.
Yeah.
And then how does it work? They give you a new deck of cards. You gotta match that.
So there's one shuffled and one ordered, and then when you take the shuffled, you kind of have this like speed stacks mat.
Right.
So as soon as you lift your hands off of the mat, the timer starts. And so you just shuffle through them as fast as possible to memorize them. And then you put them down and you like bash the timer so that it registers. Because sometimes you press it and it still goes on and you like see the seconds ticking, and stresses you out because you're like, that's the difference between a gold medal, world record, or like ending up last.
That's intense.
I know, it's like such an Asian thing. It's like I feel bad sometimes when people are like, "This comes naturally to you because you're Asian."
A lot of the World Memory Championships do happen in Asia, right?
Right. It's because the most sponsors and the most money is there. They try to do it in the U.S. and other places, but it's just like America is more into like,
those Asian
titties.
kids are beasts at this craft.
It used to
be
Swedish kids, yeah.
Oh, Swedish
and German people were really good at it, and then those Asian kids started having like academies, and there started to be like a lot of money in it.
So this is a huge thing.
It's a huge thing, yeah.
So there's academies to train kids for this. Like there's like this X-Men school for the gifted.
Oh my god, I wish I wanted to open an academy in New York, and I was like, I don't have the budget for this. No, there are like a lot of academies for this in the Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, all these places. Right now there's just like a lot of beef because there's just so much money in it. Like one person, how do I say this without, one person I know, he has clients on retainer for like $50,000 a year, and he doesn't have to fly out to them or anything.
Right.
It's just like,
you mean clients as in people who want to get better, like
improve their
memories, like companies and CEOs and all that, right? I'm assuming there's a lot of people with money.
There's a lot of people with money in China especially. So yeah, he has a lot of clients on retainer, and they will just like text him, and then the rule is like he texts back within 2 hours, and for that he gets like $50,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and or whatever 500,000 renminbi is.
I mean, because I assume like obviously with better memory, it's just improving everything quality of your life and everything. Yeah, money, right? Like,
yeah. Everything gets better with memory. I meet some people who are like, I don't need your memory coaching, and I'm like, bitch, everybody needs memory coaching. Like,
what was your like inspiration? Why were you inspired to improve your memory? Like, or when did this happen, actually? We interrupt you for a quick second to tell you about Hemp Fusion, who supports Fun with Dumb. And there's a lot of confusion around CBD nowadays. Everybody thinks CBD is created equally. It's all the same thing. But no, adding Hemp Fusion CBD to your daily routine adds up to a lot of benefits. You see, our bodies already make up cannabinoids, and plant-based CBD helps naturally balance our bodies. And unlike other CBD brands who offer just CBD, Hemp Fusion is CBD plus omegas plus terpenes to help you feel 100%. They do this because CBD works best for your body when combined with other natural ingredients and nutrients. And when you add in those other nutrients, it helps create products that help specifically with stress, sleep, and energy. And ever since I've been using this product, it really has been helping me. I take a dose, mix it with the water, and it tastes good. And it just helps me like knock out at night at the end of the day, because I have like really severe case of insomnia a lot of times. And it's just been helping me. I've actually given some to my mom too, and she likes the product as well. So this is also available both online and at a natural product retailer near you. It's shipped anywhere in the U.S. And right now, for all my listeners, if you use the promo code FUN, F-U-N, for 20% off, you get 20% off of your first order and free shipping at hempfusion.com. Go to hempfusion.com and get 20% off of your first order and free shipping if you use my code FUN. That's hempfusion.com. Get Hemp Fusion shipped anywhere in the U.S. for free if you use my code.
So
let's take it back a little bit.
Let's take it back.
Before the World Memory Championships.
Before that shit. So I was never like a really good student. I was like a pretty shit student. In
high school or what?
Middle, I almost did everything. Like, almost in middle school, I didn't graduate. Like, that's how bad I was.
So at the time, your memory wasn't even necessarily, like, you didn't think about it. Like, do you think you had good memory? Or
I thought I had a good memory for like hot guys, and like like honestly, I was just like, if somebody was hot, I was like, Kuba is born in 1984. He is like, God. It's kind of jailbait if we end up hooking up, but it's still okay because we live in Sweden. I'm sorry, but no, I used to be very like, I used to memorize a lot of things automatically about people and languages, and but for like natural sciences or even like math, I was just shit. And people would tell me I'm shit, and that doesn't really help when everybody's like, also like Sweden has this whole thing of like thinking that either immigrants have to be like really stellar and like great, or that we're all like kind of idiots.
They have a good school system, right?
We have a good school system. Everything in Sweden's great, apart from the racism. And right now I'm like trying to figure out like, is it worth making like $300K in New York and like deal with not being subject to racism, or should I go back to Sweden and just like make 30K and live a fantastic lifestyle?
Right.
You know. So anyways, I was studying in Sweden. I was bad at middle school. I like got by just because we have like these national exams that make it so that even if your teachers think you're shit, you can prove in the national exams that you are the shit. And then I got into high school, and then that was overwhelming, and I had to like I like didn't have enough points to graduate high school, so I had to like take Swahili because I was like my grades are bad enough as they are. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna go my last year of high school to Kenya because there was a Swedish boarding school in Kenya, and then there it turned out like boarding school is like for real. Like it's not just like let's party and have a pool at school. So then I was really bad at that school too. And then I had to like compensate by taking like Spanish and Swahili and all the things that I thought I was good at. Graduated, and I did like the SATs of Sweden, and I got like a pretty high score there. So like my memory's not completely shit.
Right.
But I just like couldn't deal with like high school math, physics, chemistry, biology, like all of that. And then I got into business school because of my high like SAT score. And then I was like, I just want to do this for my mom because my mom has been like raising me by herself her entire life almost. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna. And she's like, do drugs when you're like, you can do drugs when your prefrontal cortex has developed. Like you can get your ears pierced when you're 18.
Wait, when did you? So where did you?
So my point is like, my mom was like, please do this one thing for me, get a business degree, and I was like, okay, cool,
get the degree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what from there? What happened there?
And what from there was like,
I'm trying to see where you got intro to this world.
Yeah. So then I was like in business school, and I was trying to study like 2 semesters at a time instead of 1 semester because I just wanted to like A, not have as much student debt, and B, like just be done with it so I could like do more entertainment shit. Because in my mind, I was like, I'm going to travel the world and talk about fun stuff, and people are going to pay me. And everyone's like, you're fucking insane. At one point, I was like, I'm going to be a stripper. And my mom was like, you don't have any tits and you can't dance. Like, it wasn't even like my daughter shouldn't be a stripper. It was just like, I'm just going to say, you don't have the talent. I was like, okay, cool. But so, yeah, her one thing was like, please get a degree. And so I started studying, and it was pretty hard because, again, I wasn't great at math. So there's a lot of numbers in business school apparently. Who would have known? and then I was studying, and I found this book called like Moonwalking with Einstein by this like amazing writer journalist called Josh Foer, and I read it, and I was like, this is just like some white dude in Princeton. Like, I'm me. Like, I've had to like survive Swedish racism and like going to boarding school in Kenya. I think I can do this. And so in that book he talks about like memory competitions and like memory techniques, and I got really into it.
And this was like a book that was written a while ago, right?
Right, like before the global financial crisis. I know this because I'm like writing a book right now, so I'm like checking what everybody got for their royalties. So he wrote it like a little bit before the GFC, and he got like 1.2 million pounds for his story. So I'm like comparing. Anyways, so I read that book, and then I started studying really, really well. And I was so bored because it was just like things that took me like months of studying, and I would still like only get a passing grade. I would like study an hour before the test and just like ace it or get a passing grade depending on the subject.
Applying these like memory techniques.
Yeah.
And then you were just like, whoa, like I'm good at this.
Yes. And now it's like, what sucks is that now I look back on like the things that I thought were hard in high school, and I'm like, oh my God, I could just study this in a weekend and I would learn it, right?
Support for Fun with Dumb comes from Lightstream. The average interest rate on credit card debt is over 19% APR. Goddamn. Have you looked at your interest rate lately? You don't need to be a financial expert to know that consolidating debt into a low fixed rate can save you thousands of interest. I got mad homies stuck in this prison called debt with high interest rates that they just can't pay it off. Every month they pay little by little, but the interest rate stays the same, and it is stuck. You can get a rate as low as 5.95% APR with AutoPay, much lower than the national average interest rate on credit card debt. Get a loan from $5,000 to $100,000 with absolutely no fees. The application is 100% online, and you can even get your money as soon as the day you apply. I got a special offer just for my listeners right now. Apply today at lightstream.com/fun, F-U-N. That's lightstream.com/fun, and get an additional interest rate discount on top of the interest rate discount you're going to get. That's lightstream.com/fun for an additional discount. LIGHT like light and stream like STREAM.com/fun. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/fun FUN for more information.
I don't know if you know this, but I memorized the IKEA catalog.
I saw that. That was it was crazy. So for those like who aren't who don't know what we're talking about, you like studied IKEA catalog that's like 300 pages or so for like a week.
Yeah.
And then an IKEA worker or whatever was testing you like just about random things like what model in this catalog would need to take an eye test or something.
Yeah.
And then you would just point out there's this one lady who has glasses on the side of the couch, or like another page that had like a eye exam. And that was crazy to me.
Yeah, that was crazy to me too. You know why? Because like I was so like 30 of those hours that I studied the catalog, because it's like 168 hours in a week. 30 of those hours I was flying from Austin to Singapore to do the shoot. Yeah. So I was like super jet lagged, and I was just like drinking so much bubble tea and coffee and everything just so we could do the shoot, because it was going to be like a 10-hour shoot. And it was just like this miraculous thing where they accidentally like asked everything the pages that I knew like by heart. So it was very exciting.
When you were studying those pages, like what were you taking in? Like just the whole image itself, or how does your mind work with something like that?
Okay, so the page numbers is sort of like I make it into an alphabet. So like like 606 would be like Bob, for example. I see. So then because the 6 looks like a B and the or 0 looks like an O, so then I would just think of like Bob the Builder in that page, just to give an example. Yeah. And so I would do that for the numbers, and then just imagine whatever figure the number was, the page number was, I would imagine it in the room, and then I would do like a lot of associations. Also, like a week is actually a decent amount of time if you're actually trained. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's not a lot of time now that I think of it, because there were some pages where I just like completely had no idea.
To memorize a 300 page book in a week is like impressive.
I mean, I had the advantage of like being Swedish, so when they were like, remember this couch, it's called the Cliff, I'm like, okay, the Cliff. Like if they
That's true. Swedish. It's a Swedish company.
It is a Swedish company, and I love IKEA. Like from years ago, I've always loved IKEA.
You're like, I already memorized it years ago.
That's how I feel. I mean, honestly, it was like immersive. I was like, I already know all this, because like my friend Torsten owns this, my friend Johanna owns that. It was like not a big deal. But the crazy thing about that is like, I don't know, do you believe in like synergies?
Yeah, of course.
Do you?
I mean, just natural synergy.
Okay, do you believe in like, I don't know, what is it called? Like not law of attraction, but kind of like you hear somebody's album and you're like, this person is amazing. I really want to work with that person, and then you meet them, and then it's just like there's just like this.
It's happened before. I don't know if
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the IKEA story is the first time I go to Hong Kong ever in my life was like a couple months before I found out about the memory techniques. And I go to IKEA in Hong Kong, I buy my ice cream, I go out, and I'm just like looking at it, I'm like, yo, I'm Asian, I'm Swedish, like I should do an ad campaign for them. This is like one thought, a second of a thought, like a half a second of a thought, and then I just like forgot about it, and I ate my ice cream and like continued my Hong Kong trip. And then a couple months later, I found the memory techniques, and then a couple years later, this Swedish man is sitting on a workshop with IKEA, like as a client, like trying to brainstorm like new ad ideas, and he says he has a thought that just pops into his head that goes, what if somebody could memorize the catalog? That would be kind of cool. And he says like he wasn't like brainstorming and trying to figure out the most interesting thing. And that summer I had like very little to do, so they emailed me like the day after he had the idea, and he was like, this is such a great idea, I'm not going to mention it during the workshop because some bitch is going to steal it. And so then they called me, and I was like, yeah, I have nothing to do around that time in August, which was a lie because I was doing the documentary, but I was like, I want that IKEA money. And so when we met, it was just like this weird flow of like everyone on the team, we were super dedicated to it, and it was just like cool. So now I'm like obsessed with the energies.
I mean, I feel you. I think in general, I think it kind of made sense. sense. You're from Sweden. Actually, maybe not. It's not.
They auditioned other memory people as well.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, but it's also like, but it's just like such a specific thing.
It is.
See what I mean? It's
but
like,
there's always gig for these niche things, you know?
Yeah.
Like my boy is like a beatboxer and he gets all these like ads and corporate ads and stuff like Microsoft,
Should I get into beatboxing?
Support for Fun with Dumb comes from Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. That is bars right there. For all the people listening right now, all the men listening, please do not hurt your balls with the same shaver you use for your face. This is the same story I hear over and over again from people who try to trim their balls, and it's okay to trim and maintain your area down there. It's 2019. You could put a face mask on there if you want. But Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology so the trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. I know people don't like talking about this, but sometimes, you know, we do trim it down there and you're hovering over the toilet. Next thing you know, you get a text, you get distracted, and you get a little nick. And next thing you know, you're bandaging up your balls, and you don't have any regular bandages. You got the ones with like Kermit the Frog on. Next thing you got Kermit the Frog bandages over your nuts. But use Manscaped. They've engineered this particularly for your balls. Manscaped also has the crop preserver and anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, so you can keep your balls smooth as hell. The ladies love smooth balls. And you already put deodorant on your armpits. You can put it on your balls as well. And right now, for you hairy Sasquatch motherfuckers, you guys can get 20% off and free shipping by using my code DUMB at manscaped.com. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off right now and free shipping. Your balls will thank you. And your partner will thank you as well. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code DUMB at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com, DUMB, for 20% off and free shipping. In general now, like say you're just going through your day, you don't try to memorize stuff in general, right? Like
no, I'm not that nerdy. No.
Yeah. It's like it's when you're focused into something.
Yes, for people though, I will remember it. So like before I came here, I was listening to Are We There Yet and New Chick just to like get into like the mindset.
How do you do with lyrics? Actually, music lyrics, is it something that you can memorize pretty easily?
Yes, because it's not natural sciences. It's just like a flow to it, and if it's like a good lyric, it's a good lyric. Like I used to listen to those songs so much when I was a kid. So I was like trying to get into like your mentality. But like actually when you first DM'd me, I was like, I should listen to all of his discography. And like no.
Like I was gonna test you about my lyrics. Yeah.
No, not that. It's just like I really like getting into like the feel of like.
Oh, I see.
You know,
it helps you understand people.
It does.
Like memorizing a lot of things about a person. Do you feel like that? Like if you meet a person and you're like soaking in everything, like really remembering them and everything they're saying, do you feel like you got a better understanding completely about who they are?
What do you mean? Like just because I'm not actively trying to memorize New Chick lyrics, but I just think I really like getting to know people, and like sometimes that can be intense because that was before the memory techniques. So like for example, I've been meeting with in LA, meeting with a lot of, and last week, but and directors and managers and producers and writers, and with one of them, I made the mistake of like getting really, really into all of his movies before we had a meeting. Yeah. And so there was just this weird thing of like, before he said something, I knew kind of what he was going to ask.
Oh, wow.
So then there was just like, I think you can get into that mentality. You don't have that.
It's like a superpower.
It is like a superpower. Thank you for saying that. So that's like the main thing I'm trying to make happen here, but without management, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. So you're like finishing their sentences and shit.
Yes. But they're like also finishing mine because like one of them actually like Googled and researched me as well. Right. So then we were like super synced up, and it was just like this weird thing. But the problem with that is like if you don't have any acting, like even if you have like even if you have a good vibe with each other, like it's hard to make shit happen when you don't have any real, you know. Right. So then if somebody is like a big name director, but they've made movies for like a lot of money that have both flopped and made billions, they can't convince like the producers to be like, hey, this random Asian chick who has no acting reel. I want her to be the main person here.
Well, you're trying to get into acting, and I mean
comedy and music. Yeah.
Yeah, one great thing is that you'll be able to remember a whole script in within a week.
Yes, that was
a movie.
That was like the main thing that got me into it. I was like helping a lot of actors with memorizing their lines.
You've done that before.
Yes, and it was just like. I was like, I can do this.
So you're doing a lot of these workshops, the same thing you mentioned a lot of your friends too.
Yeah.
Where they're consulting and helping out with memory techniques.
Yeah.
Give me some examples of some of people who reached out to you for this stuff.
I usually try to sign like a lot of contracts, so I don't tell people.
No, I'm not saying specific names. I'm just talking about like professions.
The professions.
Yeah.
Okay. Actors, comedians, CEOs, a lot of CEOs, because they will be like, maybe their startup is expanding and then they go from having 20 employees to like 200.
And they want to remember all the names.
Yeah, because it creates a better work culture if you know everybody. It's kind of like douchey if you don't. And honestly, like a lot of people ask about relationship stuff.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, they're like, I want to know all my employees and what their motivations are and where they graduated and all this stuff. And then like after like the third or fourth session, they're like, also like there's this girl I like. And I'm always like, and she's really into Tchaikovsky. I'm like, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I usually help them out. Some of them are like married, and they're like, I need to know what my wife is into. I'm like, just listen. But
and do they just cold call you, like just email you with an inquiry, or how does that work?
Emailing. I have a sign up form for people who are like more casual about it. Yeah, mostly emailing, and then it goes through like one of my people.
Yeah, so this is like when you say this is your full-time job, that's what you mean. It's not just like the competition itself, right?
No. I mean, I could go to competitions and like make money because some of the competitions have like a lot of money.
Really? Like prize money? Like what's the prize money situation look like?
Prize money situation. I know that a couple of years back I was doing this other like commercial, I was under contract, so I couldn't go. But I know that the like total pool was like $200,000 or something.
Oh wow.
So that happens quite a lot. Do you know about the like spelling bee championships?
Yeah.
I'm like thinking about, I wish I was like under 18 so I could do those.
I mean, a lot of the kids that are going to these academies for memory, that's probably a part of the things they want to participate in too, right? The spelling bee competition, because that's memory.
I know. I mean, they could do anything. That's the thing. It's like people would be like, oh, you would be really good at poetry, and I'm like, oh, you're trying to be a poet, they always say whatever their profession is, but they're trying to pin it as like, oh, you would be like a really good doctor. I'm like, are you in med school right now?
Right.
Like you wouldn't be saying that.
But also memorizing and understanding is different too, right?
It's very different.
Yeah.
That's very true. How did you know that?
Well, I'm just saying. It makes sense. I mean, it's like because I'll read stuff, going through it, I'm reading it, and I'm not necessarily soaking it in all the time.
Right.
I got to go back and like read it again.
No. And like I had some friends who worked at CERN, like the chemistry, the physics lab in Switzerland, and they were like giving me all these formulas just for fun because we were just hanging out, nerdy friends, and they were like, look at this formula and memorize it. And I like memorized it in a couple of minutes. And then, but it's not like I can like go in there and like work one of the physics machines or whatever. It's just like I can just write it down piece by piece.
But could you memorize it and then like revisit it in your head to try to understand it?
I mean, I would have to like read the actual books and understand what like alpha, beta, whatever the formulas are. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't like. I could probably like memorize a lot of the parts of the brain, but I'm not gonna like do neurosurgery tomorrow, hopefully. So
what are like these people you're helping out and consulting on the memory techniques? Just give me like a quick basic a couple things you can do to improve your memory. Like,
okay, so my favorite example is this girl who had dyslexia, and so we did some memory techniques because like chemistry is hard enough, so one of the things I told her to do was she was supposed to memorize the periodic table of elements, right? So then I told her like just imagine like water falling on your head, and then like balloons coming out of your ears, and then lithium batteries like shoving lithium batteries up your nose. And so then I was like, okay, what are the three things? And she was like, water on my head because I just fixed my hair and you ruined it by this mental imagery, and then helium balloons coming out of my ears, and then me stuffing my nose with like electric batteries. And I was like, okay, great, so we got like hydrogen, helium, and lithium. So you see?
Okay.
So then it goes from just doing this boring step-by-step process where you just like helium, hydrogen, like all this boring like.
But you got to have like if you're associating those things like that way your brain is working, like you have to have a pretty vast imagination too, right?
Yeah. That's the biggest problem I find with clients is like they were either like grown up in a society where they're not like allowed to think so much outside of the box.
So they're not as creative.
Right. And I think there's a reason why like Swedish and Mongolian kids are the best at this right now. And I think it's because like they are in societies where like you're allowed to think outside the box and like
it's encouraged.
Right. It's not as like it's not as communal or collective, and it's more like you do you kind of societies, even though like they both have like a lot of socialist elements to them, but in general it's a lot of, you know, just do it, just reach for your dreams and think outside the box, creativity type stuff.
Do you try to stay healthy, like mentally, just to, you know, make sure?
I don't smoke pot, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, you don't do smoke weed. Do you drink?
I wish. I
because those things would affect your memory.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, I do drink. I just don't like it because I'm like I get the Asian flush so fast. Like, and also on top of that, I'm like
Same.
central. Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a dice roll. Sometimes I get it. Sometimes
I know,
I
right?
don't.
It depends on the alcohol. Sometimes I feel like, or maybe it's just how much I've eaten before. But I've heard that like enzymes in Central Asia are even slower to process alcohol. And I think like I have like one glass of wine, and I'm like, oh, and then I saw you on like La Siena, and then like I have this problem where I just tell people everything I know about them because I just like I'm like a fangirl of everyone. That's the problem. Like that's why I didn't listen to all of your discography, because I don't want to come in here and be like, so when you did that collaboration with so and so, how did that work out?
See, I should have given you an assignment. Like, remember my whole discography. I'm gonna be testing you on my lyrics.
Oh my god, no, that would be embarrassing. But yeah, no, I become like, because I like remembering things about people, I become like a fangirl of everyone. And so, but no, I used to smoke a little bit, not cigarettes because it's bad for you.
Yeah. But do you think about just trying to keep your brain healthy for this? You know.
Yes, I do. Now that I'm not actively doing it, I'm not like in super great shape. So like for example, recently I did that Mind Explained thing with Netflix and Vox, and for that they gave me 500 digits to memorize in 10 minutes. And I came to set and I was like, I can do this in 5. And then I looked at them and I was like, oh, I'm out of shape. Like I haven't been working out like physically.
It's an exercise. You got to exercise it.
Yeah, definitely. It's sort of like, you speak Korean, right?
I do. Yeah.
I do. You're like,
I'm like, do I? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm fluent enough. Yeah.
You're fluent enough. Okay, that's how I feel about Mongolian. So like when you're there, right, the first day it's like a little awkward and there's like a lot of like the greases have to be, you know, but then like after a couple of days it feels kind of like more and more natural, right? Yeah, no,
for sure. Yeah. Like when I was just in Korea,
right?
It was getting
I saw that.
good in like my second week, and then I came back and it's like gone to shit now.
You're standing there looking at all these uploads. No, but so in the same way, like if I am in Mongolia for like a week or so, it gets like it's pretty good. And the same with the memory techniques. Like I wasn't like in shape when I was doing that shoot. So I was like, yo, we have to do 510 minutes. I'm sorry. And they were like, we don't care. That's still cool. I was like, no, because the memory community is going to be like, why does she get to do a Netflix thing when she's doing this like slow grandma? Like 10 minutes for 500 digits when you're like at my level is like embarrassing.
Right.
And so sometimes I'm like, I can't post this because everyone's going to think it's so lame. But then like.
So, you know, you were saying right now, like early on, how with timing it's like you're speeding it up so you can only memorize a certain amount,
right.
But right now you're saying like you could do 500 in like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What's like the most amount of shit you can memorize with like the most time?
With the most time, I don't know, like if given infinite amount of time, like you can memorize a lot of things, like an entire Ikea catalog. Yeah.
You think you can memorize like say
all of
in an hour, like how many numbers in a row?
Oh, so there's like a point of diminishing returns. So for example, like I did this segment for Korean TV, like SBS, and so it was like you're like, I don't know. I'm from the States.
No, I know SBS.
So I did a segment for them and they were like, learn these Korean words, and I was like, okay, cool. And we thought it was going to take like 5 minutes, but it took me 10 minutes or 1 minute to memorize 10 words and like learn 10 Korean words.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is cool. But then the thing is, like, I wouldn't be able to do like 20 in 2 minutes. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like there's this like peak the first minute, and then it kind of goes off. So
Right.
even if I can memorize like 500 digits in 5 minutes, like I couldn't do.
It's like you're holding on to it, and it's
Yeah, exactly.
slips. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's also like the more you have to memorize, the harder it gets to like memorize it. So I won't have like that same speed for each chunk of the 5 minutes if I were to do it for an hour. But I think the world record right now, I haven't been like keeping up with the statistics, but I think the world record right now for 60 minutes is like over 3,500 digits or something like that.
For 60 minutes, 3,000 and what?
I think
500
I
digits?
don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think the coolest ones are the binary digits ones, because it's like 5 minutes, and I think the girl who has it now, she's also Mongolian. She memorizes like 1,500 ones and zeros. Like legitimately, if you get
wild.
1 0 wrong, that's like 30 points that they just remove.
I saw in the documentary you mentioning about like your background being Mongolian,
Yeah.
playing into being good at this.
You wrote a song about Mongolia, right? Or like
I
about
did.
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
listening to
I
that.
still
as
get
a kid.
some Mongolian love from that song. Actually,
Really?
yeah,
You
I got
do?
some Mongolian homies who can't come up to me and they're like,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
but
really like your song. Yeah, I'm sorry.
but
I don't
yeah,
know their accents.
Well, yeah, I was like, is that the accent? But what you said something about it in the documentary,
Right, like oral tradition, right? So I think in all like indigenous like tribal communities, you didn't have like Gutenberg and the art of writing at hand, especially Mongolians, because we're so nomadic. We're just like moving around all the time. Like, when are we gonna we're like slaughtering sheep, but also like raising an army, or when are we gonna have the time to be like, oh, and the art of writing, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So there's like a huge long history in every culture, not just in Europe. I think the Europeans like hyping it up as if it's only them, but every continent has this history of oral tradition, which is like they tell each other these long sagas and stories, and they tell it orally, like verbally, and then they repeat it to themselves. So what I was trying to say in the documentary, but like for time reasons it was a bit cut out, is like I think that really helps with improving your memory as a culture, because you're having to practice the art of memorizing just for the sake of memorizing, even when you have stuff like writing.
Unless they were lazy and it was like a game of telephone.
Oh my God.
They just butcher the story.
Oh my God. So like the kill two birds with one stone phrase?
Yeah.
In Sweden, it's kill two flies with one slap or something.
Yeah.
And in Mongolian, Mongolian people are like the queens and kings of hyperbole, because our version is to shoot two rabbits with one bullet. Like, it's just so, like, Mongolia's a hype machine. But yeah, I think that really helps. There was actually this study in New Zealand with like, I'm not going to go into the ethnic groups, but the breakdown is like white people, ethnic brown people, like indigenous Maori, and Chinese, like immigrants. So they check everyone's memory for like when their first autobiographical, like first like me and my story memory was. And they found that like the people who did worse, like the latest first memory they had was Chinese women, like Chinese women, Kiwis. And then the people who had the best were Maori, indigenous people, and it was because like their culture is like very obsessed with keeping up tradition, family stuff, and just like remembering memories about each other and life, so
Right.
It's very culture dependent.
That's true.
And they've done a similar study in the US, and they found that specifically African American women have the worst, and so it's not genetic, it's more like who do we prize in society, who do we tell like stories of themselves, who do we like put on a pedestal and stuff like that.
Is it also like like traumatic experiences maybe?
Yeah, it might be traumatic experiences. But I think the main thing that the researchers found was that it's mostly about whether society and whether like the media messages you're getting values you as a person.
That's true.
But also if your parents are talking to you and have the time to be like, because there was a huge difference between the Chinese women and the Chinese men. So like,
right.
And then
that's interesting,
right? I think that's super interesting, because it's like you think that some cultures are just like better at certain
I think
things.
you're right about the values though, about traditions and remembering things and following tradition.
Yeah.
You know, like Asian cultures are big on that.
Yeah.
So we're all about that, and it's.
Did your mom ask you a lot about like self-reflective questions, like what did you do in school today, or?
No, actually, that's why I think I got a shitty memory.
Oh no!
Yeah, because she was.
My
my parents weren't active on that shit. They were not following up. You know. I was like, how about this? They're like, yeah, whatever. Just.
You're doing well. I mean, oh my God.
I have problems memorizing too.
Really?
I will say. I mean, it's tough. Like, at least for a musician, we use music, right? So we just
different.
Yeah, there's a rhythm, and I mean, you guys don't really apply the musical element, right? When you try to memorize.
No, I don't think so.
Because people early on, I remember school teachers like try to turn it into a game.
Yeah.
And like make it a musical game.
A B C D. Right. Right.
But that's not the techniques you guys are using.
No, I think you could do it just to like lean into the memory
like
techniques.
The dumb people. How dumb motherfuckers do it.
Yeah, no, I get a lot of, whenever I do any show, there's always people like hypothesizing on how I do it. And so they'll be like, oh, she did it because she's rhyming in her head. I'm like, I'm not rhyming 100011, even though that's like a cool like Trent Reznor song.
I saw that these memory palaces, that was the thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's things you really do create in your head?
Yeah.
Is it like that graphic they were using?
Yeah, no, I think the graphics they were using were like very toned down in comparison to what's happening in my head.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so the memory palace is basically like this supposedly ancient Greek technique, but as I already mentioned, Europeans have a tendency to just be like, oh, history is very rich and your history is shit and like tribal. But basically the technique is like you have to combine what you don't know with what you already know. And so because I already know like the shape of my own bedroom, I can like put things all around my bedroom in order. So like let's say for the hydrogen, helium, lithium example, I would be putting like a whole host of water in my bed and say that it's a water bed, and on my nightstand it would just be like thousands of balloons, and then in the window I would put like the window is like electrified because it's full of batteries, like, for example. And so that way it's easier to like bridge the gaps in your mind with what you're trying to memorize with what you already know. So I know my bedroom well, I might not know the periodic table of elements, etc.
Interesting. And then you move on to a different section. Right,
and you just move it in like this logical order that feels natural to you, and like you can do it with like fake places. Like I do it with a lot of The Sims, and I used to do it with GTA San Andreas, but then I played it again and I was like, oh, nothing looks, I've just been making shit up, you know? Like, so I can't use those memory palaces anymore. But a lot of it is like places I've lived, places I actually know, but a lot of people will use like fake places, The Sims places, and all that stuff. So
damn, so there's some crazy shit going on in your head right
all
now.
The time. Oh my God, if people knew, I feel like it would be bad. Which is why I don't like research people before I meet them, because I don't want to be like, and then your childhood in Argentina. Like I saw a snippet of your Wikipedia and it was just like Argentinian born Korean American rapper, right?
Yeah.
Where were you born?
I was born in Buenos Aires,
Ooh,
Argentina.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean, if you just look at a page,
you're like, I don't want to talk about myself. I talked about myself.
What else do you know about me?
I don't know that much.
Yeah, but if you just look at a page for like a minute, you'll retain a good amount of information.
If it's about a person, yeah. So that's what's crazy is like you have to do it with things that you like. So some people like are better at remembering violence or sexual imagery, so they try to use that as much. I like just like connecting with people and fun things. So my memory palace is usually like more fun things.
I noticed in those competitions, they like people really try to focus because they tune out everything, right? Is that very important too?
It is super important. Like you'll like one tiny thing, like somebody walking past you who's not supposed to be there, it can be super distracting. Yeah. Because memory in the end is all about focus. And so some people will be like, I didn't catch your name. And I'm like, yeah, because you weren't listening. It's a lot of it is about attention. So if you weren't paying attention in the first place, how are you going to memorize it? Like you can't remember something you never saw in the first place, right?
So once some shit like a fly lands on the table or something, it could fuck up the whole shit.
No. So I've trained in like very stressful environments just so I'm not as distracted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
okay.
on the
So this is
subway
some
in
real
Tokyo.
serious training. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was like, I was so rocky.
I'm gonna go to a
about
punk
it.
rock show that's in the middle of a mosh pit while memorizing
Oh my
numbers.
god, I would no mosh pits for me in the past 5 years. Yeah, no, that would have been fun. No, I went to like really busy. Like I went to Shibuya. Like my dad used to live in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So when I visited him, I would go and like sit in Shibuya, in the Shibuya crossing.
Wow.
And I would just like memorize cards there. And so then in competition, if somebody's loud or something, I'm just like, I don't care. There are some competitors who are like, excuse me, you're being very loud. You should be disqualified. And I'm just like, shut up. Like, this is half of your job is just to tune out bullshit.
Right.
And I think that's actually something that people don't really realize is that the memory training really helps with like tuning out bullshit. Because I think now that we're all on like our apps, we're always just like, partially like we want to like check how many likes we got or see if that person DM'd us back or like
Yeah, I mean definitely like people watch television or watch movies while they're on their phone,
right?
Yeah. It's really fucked it up.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned that in the documentary too, how
I did
people, I mean,
damn, you watched it.
I really did. I mean, I had to do research for this, but how people take memorizing for granted and they don't really do that often now, right?
No, we're all like super scatterbrained and just distracted, and I've noticed that when I'm working with people, especially like here in LA, I just feel like everyone is like thinking about 5 different projects at the same time, and I'm just like, why don't we just like finish this movie, do it well, cast everybody, and then just like move on instead of. And the thing is, like,
so have you applied that to your life, like this stuff, or?
Yeah, I've been like leaving my phone at home a lot, and
Really?
so sometimes it pisses people off. But I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't go to like back to back meetings and then also think about like, oh, did that person text me back or not? It's just always, it's like having multiple tabs open, and our brains are more like Windows 95 than they are like the latest MacBook.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have multiple tabs open, it's not gonna.
So it's actually affected and inspired your daily routines.
Of course, yeah. No, it does with everything. I try to do that. Like right now, a lot of my work and collaborations are through Instagram, so I have to be on it. But if I could, I would just like not. I would just email all the time because I don't have email on my phone.
The one thing I always think about is if I get locked up, like the number that I'll remember to call. And I
like
don't,
your mom's childhood number.
I just don't remember numbers no more.
Oh,
like
no.
it's happened to me. Like I'm a product of what you're explaining right now. Like literally, I come from the era where we memorized numbers, know. And then now it's like just because I have all the numbers, I don't remember. Like
Right.
I used to remember my dad's work number, my mom's cell phone, and I don't remember those anymore.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I usually say like that. Don't be too worried about that because like some people will ask me like how to memorize their entire schedule for the upcoming week. I'm like, do you have to remember your schedule for the upcoming week for the rest of your life? Then no, fuck it. Like just don't memorize it. And people will be like, but I want to memorize all these numbers. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that? Is that gonna help you in your career? So I usually try to just say like calm down, we don't like I don't, but sometimes so I usually try to just say like, okay, you're an actor, so just remember your lines, be on time, remember that the person doesn't like it when you say or like or whatever. So just like these little things about the people that they're auditioning for, etc. But then when it comes to frivolous shit, like a lot of people will take the example of like, with this memory technique, she can memorize her entire grocery list. I'm like, I'm on Instacart. I don't need to memorize my grocery list. I'm just like, okay, bread, eggs, good. But for like real shit, it's really helpful. It's about being present, right? Just being present. Yeah.
And I mean, with you, do you soak in experiences more vividly,
I thought I didn't, but then I've thought about every time I forget my phone or keys at home, I have these weird, and I don't think you get there after like a few months of training, but I have these weird things where like if I don't find anything, my first instinct is to panic and yell at everybody and be like, are you sitting on the remote? I swear to God, you're sitting on the remote. Like I don't trust anyone when the remote is gone, but now I have these flashbacks that are like very cinematic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Where it's just like,
shit
this
right
is
here.
the superhero shit. Oh God, I hope that thing goes through. It's not gonna happen because they're not gonna take a risk on somebody who has no name. But I hope that shit goes through. Anyways, no, I'll have like these flashbacks of like, okay, you were there and you were there and then you had wine and that's why you put it there because you thought that because you're drunk you're not going to remember,
Right.
but you put it there. And then like I have these like,
And then it gets you to the place.
right. And,
Oh wow.
and it's faster than what I'm describing right now. It's just like this boom, 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 boom thing. And I used to just like cry and be like, I'm gonna be late for the flight. It's fuck my life. Like I used to be very panicky about
Yeah.
that stuff, but now I just know that. And sometimes even with numbers, I will look at a number and be like, how the hell does anyone know anyone's number? And then I remember the memory techniques.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh right, that I can do this in literally a second. Like this is not. So there's like these two tracks or like these two mentalities, which is like old brain. Like you were shit at middle school, you were shit at high school, like you were shit all the time. And then there's this like new mode of like, oh, you're like you're doing well, you can memorize these things. But sometimes when I'm tired and I look at like my own stuff, like when people will send me like, this is the rough cut of what we've just made, and I look at it and I'm like, how the hell does anyone do that? That's
Right,
fucking
right.
insane. Like, because you know there is a separation between like what you do.
Yeah.
And you must have that with your music as well, where you're like, oh, this is pretty good. No?
Yeah.
You do?
Definitely. Yeah. I feel-
Okay, good. I don't want to be the only one who's like looking at my own shit being like, this is terrible, or like, this is really good. I can't
I
believe this is
critique
good.
my own shit all the time. But
Yeah.
is there a big meditation element to this? Like, do you meditate and stuff, or are
Yes.
Because you seem like you're pretty all over the place too. But yeah, but
No,
I
no,
know when you try
I'm
to focus too, you got to kind of relax and calm down. You can't panic, right? So
Right. Yes, when I have to focus, I am very, very focused, but I am very all over the place in terms of like what I'm thinking about. And I
Yeah.
just had tea, so like my brain is like, I just want to tell you everything about myself. Okay.
right.
So I am all over the place in my head, but I'm also like, if I'm doing work, then it's just like, let's do this and let's be focused. I do meditate. I've 294 days straight right now, so I'm like very competitive. I'm competing with a friend, so I'm like, I hope she fails. Anyways, I know I shouldn't be so competitive.
What's the next competition? What are you training for right now?
I'm not training for any
You're not-
competition right
you're
now.
not.
No, because it's fun. I've done that. I want to do it again. It's just it's like the and general entertainment things are like going pretty well for somebody who has no experience.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to double down on that.
The Netflix documentary helped out a lot, right, for people to understand this world. Like,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but mostly to like understand that I'm not like some creep who's trying to like just plug my own shit.
Yeah.
Just to like humanize me.
what did things change a lot when the documentary came out? Like, I mean, before it, I wasn't really familiar with you until the documentary.
Oh, nice.
You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of people
I was
same
familiar
way.
with you though, but I didn't know that you were in Bad Rap because.
Oh yeah, in the documentary. Yeah, shout out J-Key.
Yeah, J.K.
Oh yeah, J-Key was, you were on the panel together.
Yes, J.K. and I, oh my god, it was so funny. So J.K., director of Bad Rap, I was on a panel with him, and my friend was like, oh, it's gonna be J.K. Chow. He's like this director, like entrepreneur, everything. And like I looked at a picture and I was like, this nerdy Asian bro ain't got shit. So I like came to the panel super unprepared, and then J.K.'s like, yo,
Yes.
I descended from the skies. My mama birthed me. I was like, oh my god, I can't.
Straight New Yorker. Yeah.
I was like, I can't out
hey,
funny
son,
this man.
what's good?
Oh god, such
yeah.
a deep voice. I'm like, I
Yeah.
have no BDE comparison to this guy. So I was just like, it was very shocking. But he's cool. No, I didn't know that you were in that.
Yeah, it was a while
How's that?
ago.
What did
So
that
we're
change things
both-
for you?
We're both documentary
Hoes.
Yeah, documentary hoes on the Netflix. No, I mean, you know, we did a little film festival circuit with it.
Tribeca, right?
Yeah, Tribeca. Not really. I mean, I was doing my thing already, but I
Right.
like it more as like
You're
a
so
time
established.
capsule for us, you know.
Nice.
Like, I mean, for Aquafina, it's like crazy where she's come from that to, you know, where she's at now.
Yeah.
But for all of us, we're still friends, and it's like a good time capsule for us to like look back on that, which was like 5-6 years ago,
Yeah.
and be like, oh, damn, we've come a long way, you know.
That's cute.
Yeah, it is. It's
Did
mad
you have a
cute.
good time?
It's mad cute. It was super. It was cool because the homegirl who was shooting it, this was like her like a college student project.
Oh
you know?
my God.
So at the time we were very comfortable with what we were saying. We were loose with it. Things like I probably wouldn't have said if I knew
In
that
the
this was gonna
post-Me
be in like
Too PC
Tribeca.
culture.
Yeah, like certain things. But I mean,
no.
but in
You can't take it back though.
I like it that we were kind of just free about saying anything because it just makes it so much more real. And we look back at it and we see like, oh, this was really where our heads were at the time. It wasn't like a front or we were acting. Right. You know? And you see the maturity and the growth in it. You know,
that's cute. I hope I have the same feelings.
Like, what was that? That was 2 years ago or so.
That was 2 years ago. I think I mentioned that like because I'm telling everybody about like how much I love Mongolia, how much like Sweden has given me stability, and like.
And you're young, right? Like, how old are you? Like 22?
I'm in my 20s.
Are you 22?
I'm not going to say how old I am because, as I said, that producer is like, you born in 1985? Well,
I remember the documentary age, so, you know.
Yeah. Oh, my God. No, it's a problem. It's also this weird thing of like, even if the director who's like above the line and has say in casting is like, yeah, she could definitely play 17, like if somebody else like Googles one of the fake ass articles with like a poorly researched journalist and it says like she was 26 in 2014, I was like, how's that even fucking possible? Do you think I'm 31? Like this is like Asian like facial unfamiliarity at its like high point. Anyways, sorry. But as for
went to another memory palace over here.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have had tea. I was like, but in terms of like what you should and shouldn't say in the documentary, so I was saying like, but the best thing about the U.S. is Amazon Prime. I was making a fucking joke.
That was funny.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I was trying to make a joke, but then like 4 men like threatened to kill me because in their emails they were like,
because of that.
I'm like,
they're like, we have better things to offer than Amazon Prime.
I fucking know, dude. It's a joke.
Is that what they were flipping out about?
They were like, okay, so the one guy was like, as someone who's ugly, I can't believe you're such a like you get offended when people, because in the documentary apparently I say like I don't like it in America because everybody's always trying to shoot their shot.
Yeah.
And then this guy like wrote this like very extensive bullet point list about how ugly I am. But then the thing is like, that was one of the death threats. But then the other emails were also like, oh, Nelson, because like Nelson is in the documentary, right? And he's like this 6'4" white guy who's super muscular, and everyone was like bashing my looks, but then saying like Nelson was statuesque and beautiful and he looked like an Adonis.
He's a hottie.
And I was just like, deal with your latent homosexuality in somebody else's DM. I was like, why are you telling me this? Like, if you want to fuck him, just fuck him. Don't tell me like how ugly I am. It's like
he went off on you.
A lot of men were very angry with me for being like, I didn't even go off on my like fucking rants about feminism. I was just this is
the few moments you had they were angry about.
Yeah. Did you have that, or was everyone just like?
Nah. Oh. I mean, I was just fascinated about the world. Honestly, I was hoping there would be more. There would be like some kind of villain in it. Like, you know, there's like a villain in a documentary.
Yeah, I think the directors are too nice. There were people that they could have definitely
made
into villains. Yeah, like
what are they like? They just sabotage your cards. Just
yeah, no fucking joke.
Oh, for real?
That's why I'm taking a break, because there was like some sabotage and like people keep threatening me with like legal action if I say what happened. So it's
so these games get pretty mean, savage.
I think like the more niche and nerdy it is, the more savage it gets, you know. But it's also like you never know with people, which is like why I'm always careful about the DMs, because it's like you never know. Like when, like I had a coffee with like a prominent like tech entrepreneur, let's say. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be cool. Like he's married to this person. He's like an outspoken feminist, and he starts like hitting on one of my friends like pretty rapidly. And so now, like, it's fucked up because I can't use his site anymore, even though it's, like, a pretty prominent site. Like, let's say it's Facebook, because it's not Facebook.
Yeah, you can't use Amazon anymore?
Oh, shit.
Nah, I'm kidding. Jeff Bezos? Not kidding.
Jeff Bezos is, like...
Yeah. Nah, he's divorced. You're good.
No. It was just, like, you never know. And maybe you don't have that, but it's, like... But I was Googling you, and, like, the number one thing after, like, you write dumbfounded, it's, like, girlfriend, ? Did
really?
You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So with women, it's usually, like, Jennifer Lawrence, boyfriend, and then it's feet, and then it's age.
Yeah.
But I think with men, it's very different. Like, it's like first album, blah, 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 age, girlfriend. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine. I can answer this DM.
Well, I never dated anybody famous, so nothing would really come out.
No, but I think a lot of thoughts are interested in, like, dating you. So that's why they keep Googling girlfriend. You don't have women creeping on you in the DMs?
No, I do. I don't like to put that out there. I don't really respond like that either,
No?
just because, it's like nowadays,
You never
it's not
know.
the same, like I would, if there was like a cute girl, I respond, but,
You don't know if her ass is photoshopped?
I'm just not trying to, not even that. I just don't want cats, like people like screenshotting stuff and, like that gets whack.
It gets weird, right?
Yeah, because even if you're trying to talk to a cute girl and you like respond and just like, really innocently, like, what's up, you cute, whatever, then sometimes they'll post it and turn it into an IG story, like, oh, look, Dumb responded, and we're
no.
It's like a conversation, and I'm like, I don't like that.
I'm gonna post that I asked you if you wanted bubble tea and you declined.
Yeah.
Dumbfounded doesn't like
I'm
bubble
good.
tea.
I'm good on the bubble tea. Just come for the interview. No, I'm kidding.
No,
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell everybody on bubble tea. I don't know why.
Where did you go get bubble tea at?
Bubba time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
What was the menu like? Remember? No, I'm kidding.
I
I'm
can't-
testing you right now.
Don't test me. I don't
what
know
did
anything.
the menu look like? No.
Do people try to ask you to rap like randomly?
Everybody who has a profession, people always try to put them on the spot in like some monkey dance kind of situation.
Yeah, right.
Like,
It's inevitable.
Comedians, people are like,
Be
tell
funny.
a joke. Yeah, it's the worst fucking human beings when they ask you shit like that. I mean, I'm sure you get that shit all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's like a party trick or something, right?
The worst thing is people will come up to me and be like, "You don't remember me?" I'm like, "I swear to God, I would not remember you even if I tried."
Is there some shit that you wish you could just forget?
Yeah, of course. But like a lot of the memory thing is like you have to learn how to forget stuff. So sometimes people,
really?
Yeah. Sometimes people will be like, "Oh, remember that guy? He was like in trouble for like tax fraud." And I was like, "I don't remember him because like I didn't like him." So then I just like suppressed him,
Oh, okay.
So I have a very
Is that so you can fit in more other information?
No, so okay, yeah, it's a good question. So I
Yeah.
love this question because like people have this tendency to like equate whatever the latest technological advancement is with the human brain. So it used to be like during the Industrial Revolution, people would say like you have to blow off steam because it's like related to the trains and the steam and the everything. So people would be like, you can't bottle up all your anger, you have to let off that steam. So you have to get angry when you feel angry.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that's not a good thing. You should just like be angry in small doses. Do not practice the art of being angry. And in the same way, in modern times, when we have we usually equate the human brain and its memory capacities with computers, right? Because it's like 16 gigs phone, or I don't think anyone has 16 gigs on their phone anymore, but let's say it's like 64, and it's like you're taking pictures. Is it going to be full? Is it not going to be full? And so people will be like, are you removing things because you need space for other things? And like it's actually the human brain is. Do you watch Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so the first season they have this concept where it's like the cloud of information is the more you can remember, the more it is able to remember. So the more people post to the cloud, the more the cloud is able to remember. So our human brains are actually like the opposite of computers in that we actually, the more we remember, like even if it's some random shit like all the lyrics to Hamilton or whatever, then it actually helps us with physics and chemistry and all this other stuff because it's just like the muscle of remembering.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like, because people will be like, oh, now that you know the IKEA catalog, has like all of your business school knowledge gone away? I'm like, no, we don't.
That's not how it works.
It's not like a finite room. It's actually the more shit you put in that room, the better it gets. So
okay.
And people usually
there's a little lesson for you guys.
Yeah.
Don't think learning more shit is gonna fuck up your old shit.
No, it doesn't. I mean, unless it's like something that's very similar to what you're already learning.
Right. Then it gets confusing.
Like, don't learn Korean and Japanese at the same time because like grammatically they're too similar, so your brain is gonna like get confused.
Yeah.
But if you already know Korean and then you try to jump into Japanese, it's easier. So there's also like.
So I know English isn't your first language.
Can you tell?
No, I'm just saying
kidding.
it's really good, but
Thank you.
so this memory thing has a memory thing. I don't know why I'm calling it a
It's
memory
okay.
thing.
I call it the memory thing.
Yeah. So has it helped you learn the language a lot faster?
I wish, yeah. I mean, when I memorized those 10 Korean words in 1 minute, I did use memory techniques. I usually say it's only like for the beginning part, it's like training wheels. So like in order to learn how to ride a bike, you should have training wheels just so like you don't scrape up your knees and mess them up, right?
Yeah.
So I usually say like in the beginning, yes, for vocab reasons, it's good. But then the thing about language is it's more of a muscle memory. It's kind of more musical.
Right.
So I usually try to teach people. A lot of people ask me to teach them language learning as well. And so it's a lot of like you know, like yo quiero algo, and then you like fill in the quiero.
Yeah.
So it's more of like a muscle memory thing.
Right.
So, but before you reach, because you were saying like
there's a rhythm too.
Yeah, there's a difference between understanding and memorizing, right? So like you can memorize all of the 500 most common Spanish words you can, but then if you can't use them, then that's like a
right.
You know,
pointless,
it's kind of pointless. So then the trick is to like get it to a point where it's kind of subconsciously coming out of you automatically.
Do you remember the 10 Korean words?
I remember that one of them was bihangi, which is like airplane.
Oh yeah, that's close. It's
No, it's not. It wasn't. They didn't give me phonetics, so it was. How do you say it then?
Piengi.
Piengi. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't Mongolian Korean pretty close? Like we're pretty close family tree.
Yeah.
Right?
It is a very close. Have you done the 23andMe yet?
I haven't.
You don't want that information out there?
No, I don't care. I just haven't done it yet.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I got gifted one. I haven't turned it in though. I gotta do it. I don't know if there's an expiration date on those things.
You got it in 2012.
Yeah.
No, Korean is very close. Actually, one of my Korean friends, she did it, and she found out she's 0% Korean. I was like, yeah.
She's what?
She's Korean, but she did the test right.
Yeah.
And it turns out she's 50% Mongolian, 25% Japanese. And she was like, I got to talk to my parents because this is awkward because her entire life she's been like, I'm Korean, I live in K-Town, blah, blah, blah.
I live in K-Town. I am 100% Koreatown.
Yeah. Or like in New York, it's more like a Korea street. But yeah, what were we talking about? See, I don't remember everything.
Yeah. Damn. Okay, I was seeing if that would happen at one point.
Like where you were like,
do you remember what we were talking about?
We were talking about So I am Mongolian. A lot of Mongolians go to Korea and they learn it like really fast.
Yeah.
But I think Mongolian is a little harder to pronounce. So like, again, it's the thing of like if you already know one thing, it's easier to learn another one. So Mongolians will go to Korea and they learn it within like 3 months. Koreans will go to Mongolia and learn it within like 6 months. Yeah. Same with Swedish and German. Like Swedes will go to Germany and learn it within like 6 months if they like work really hard at it, you know. But the opposite is true for Germany. Like Germans will go to Sweden and learn Swedish in 3 months because our grammar is easier, our pronunciation is easier, everything is easier, you know. Yeah. So it's kind of this thing. Yeah. I wish I spoke Korean. I wanted to. I did it like as a pet project, but then like all these other jobs kept coming in, so then I just like did this speech in Korea, and I wanted to do it in Korean because it would have been cool to memorize the entire thing. That's
tight. So you got a lot of things coming up.
I hope so.
Besides like the acting stuff, and do you have stuff coming out that's kind of like the IKEA ad, like some more commercials?
Memory stuff?
Yeah, memory stuff or.
I don't know.
Is that more random?
So this is the thing. The last time I did a podcast, I was like, I have nothing going on, and then like the week after, like a bunch of shit came out, and I was like, this is really awkward. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say like follow me at Yanjaa on Instagram.
Yeah. And there's workshops. You had a calendar of workshops people can sign up for.
Right. Yeah. So I have workshops too, like one-on-one workshops, not groups anymore, because everyone needs such like individualized attention when it comes to improving their memory. But yeah, I have a lot of speaking gigs and other projects that are coming out.
So when you're in the city, people can book you for these one-on-one sessions.
Yes.
How long are these sessions?
4 hours.
4 hours.
A half-day workshop. Okay. I usually prefer not to do it for 4 hours because it is like an actual skill. I think people see it. Like people are DMing me all the time like, I want to memorize as good as you. I'm like, I don't know if that's how it works. Like you can't just decide that you want to be as good as me and then it's like I think I've sunk at least 2,000 hours into at least the learning part, and then maybe like 3,000 hours into like the teaching part. So
you have a curriculum of your own that you.
Yeah, but it's very individualized because it's somewhat pricey. So I don't want to like just phone it in.
Oh
so,
damn! These are some pricey ass lessons over here. So you better get your money out.
It's like no, but it is life changing if you get the right coach.
It's an investment, but
it is.
and you can really apply it to your life to make more money, build better relationships,
everything. Whatever you're doing, it's helpful for. So it's the people who see the value, they also need to like be ready to put down the monies, because then that creates like a psychological level of like, I have put value into this, so then they're less likely to flake out. The people I've coached for free just because like we're friends or whatever, they never commit to it. They're just like, I tried your thing during the audition and it didn't work. And I'm like, yeah, because you barely listened. I told you this. Like, if you don't listen, it's kind of hard to remember in the first place.
I definitely can use it to holler at some more girls, because like I remember I hate asking the same question again.
Really?
When they're like, I already told you this, and I'm like, oh fuck, shit.
That's after lesson 3. After you pretend that you need help with acting lines, and then the 4th lesson, you're just like, how do I remember this thing about this girl? Yeah.
What is the strangest request? Strangest. Not request, I guess. What was the strangest client and why they wanted to improve their memory?
Oh my God.
Is there?
Oh
if
my
there
God.
is one, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of something without strangest client. Yeah, no, I think it's
because everybody has their reasons, but like
everybody has the reasons. I think there hasn't been like one that I want to say like that's the weirdest one. I think the most awkward ones are the ones that just want to be my friend, but it's like the most awkward way of becoming my friend.
Oh,
is, like,
so they book you to be your friend.
Yes, and then I'm just like, I'm not that cool. Like, I'm a very annoying person to be friends with. Like, you shouldn't. So that's that. Like, you kind of. Now I have like this vetting process for the one, so that
the creeps.
For the creeps,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
For the
okay.
creeps. No, they're not creepy. They're just like misguided, and they just like see some clips and they're like, "Oh, we might be good friends." I'm like, "You don't know me. Like, I'm super introverted, and you can't tell because I talk a lot, but I am." So you must have the same thing when people are like, "Oh, I want to make music with you," and then it turns out it's weird.
Nah, I only make music with somebody that I don't even like to like if people ask me how much do you charge for a feature, I don't really do that.
No,
I just like collaborating with people I want to collaborate with, you know, and that like not money related.
That's
Unless
good.
it's like a huge amount, I'll be like, okay, we'll just do it. I don't care how weird you are. Let's get it in. Let's get in the studio.
David Guetta's like, "I'll pay you X amount." You're like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah. Like if some kid was like, play my birthday party, I'm 12. I'm like, I'm not gonna play your birthday party. He's like, for 100K. I'm like, okay, I'm there.
Yeah, okay, good. Here we have it now. 100K for your birthday party, little Chads.
3 people there. I'm there. I'm performing.
Yeah, that's a little bit how I feel. I mean, yeah, it's but the best part is like the change in people's like confidence. I think it's especially little kids who have different types of diagnoses. So like that one girl, that first client I ever had, she had dyslexia and she memorized 100 digits of pi in an hour. So we did 2 hours of prep and then she just went through it in an hour.
That's cool. That must be rewarding when you help somebody out like that,
right? It is rewarding. It's super cool. It's just it's just time, and life is short, and I want to do like more fun stuff, and you can't just always. I mean. I don't know. I just like music, comedy, and acting is like more fun than anything, and like I'm writing a book, and that's fun, and like but the memory. After a while, you've talked about one subject so long, like if. It gets kind of grating, like in your head. You're just like, yes, my name is dumbfounded. My original name is this. I'm born in Argentina. Like, Or are you very excited about telling people that all the time?
No, it gets annoying. You
right?
know, like just gets boring. You know, redundant. Like, interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
I try to find more fun ways to phrase it.
Yeah.
But then it's always just like, I met someone for coffee the other day and I was just like, yes, I'm from Mongolia, yes, I'm from Sweden, and I'm trying to keep up the enthusiasm, but it's hard when you've talked about it 1,000 times, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's the problem with the memory.
It's part of the game, though, you know.
I know. I'm finding like different, like I'm trying to be like Jakey, right? Just like I'm descendant from Genghis Khan.
Yeah. He has always a really fun intro,
right?
You know?
But I think he switches
it's the
it up.
God from Queens, like. Yeah, but
so I try to be like, I will be a hardworking person on set because like I'm descended from Genghis Khan and like we took over 1/3 of the landmass, so you can just
that sounds a little intimidating there, but all right.
I know, but some people think it's funny.
That's on your Her Tinder profile, but I'm kidding.
No. Yeah.
Yo, thank you for coming on the show. Yanjaa Winter Soul.
Yanjaa,
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I already fucked this whole interview up by ending like that.
No worries.
Yanjaa Winter Soul, available for, to improve your quality of life.
Yeah. Everything.
Holler at her for the prices.
Go to @Yanjaa for Instagram stuff so you can find out all the fun public things I'm doing that's not as expensive as the coaching.
And you're traveling all over the world for this.
Yeah.
That's great. You're living your dream.
I don't know. Oh, maybe, yeah. It's nice. It's nice just talking. Yeah.
That's what's up. Yo, tune in next week for another episode of Fun with Dumb. Peace.
Bye.